Fuin trá seo, bhí an chuid eile an bheitheal éarnach ag tríd chomá.
We could see the trace coming towards us. And it was pretty horrendous.
They used to go for the big gunner and the radio man. The radio man was obviously first on the list, and I was second.
With the anti-tank gun, you had to stand in the open, fire it.
Now, explosion like that, you've pinpointed yourself. It's highly dangerous.
Charlie was the firer, I was the number 2. And I loaded, Charlie fired, hit the bridge.
Lieutenant Norton said to me, would you take another shot at the carriage? I said, on my own.
He said, like, both of you come with me. So the two of us went out, and he fired, and he got the second one.
Ferguson only had 4 shells. So next thing I seen, the 5th, 6th shell exploding. So I knew, other than Ferguson had now engaged the carriage.
So when I hit the carriage the first time, silence then for then on.
The enemy ran away. They just ran away. And I remember shouting, I screamed, big cheer, I couldn't believe it. Because at that stage I was sure I was going to be killed.
There was still firing coming at us, because we were running up to the railway station itself.
We were expecting a counter-attack, which didn't materialise.
So we not only move in and take the tunnel then. So we took the positions up on the top of the tunnel and held it.
Bhí a gospóirí timpeall Elizabethville, bainte amach ag na Solanig, ag Cathlan Ghorca na Hind, agus ag na Hétóp ag Chomá.
When we took the tunnel, we must have been a month on it.
Sentries were posted, and it got back to some sense of normality.
One day, a jeep came out who I'd anti-tank trained on it. They were Congolese soldiers. I didn't fire it because I'd have watched the point in killing people for nothing. So I relaxed and let them go about their business.
Were we justified in what we were doing? Yes, we were. We were under the mandate from the UN. But there was the thing comes into your mind about peace enforcement and peacekeeping.
Nuair a tháinig deireadh leis an cá, bhí 8 gomadaí síochána 10 marmh, agus duine agus 20 acab gortathe go dona.
They brought me to a hospital, which was only a house, and they'd done the operation in the bivouac, or a tent, or whatever you call it. Sergeant Paddy McCahey was in the little bed beside me, but he actually died beside me.
Curú an lábhach ar fionraí ar an níl lá déag de bhí na nollag, fad is a tháinig an rialtas Katangach, rialtas Lárnach an Congo, agus na náisiún aontaithe le chéile de chainte na síochána. Mar a tharlaíonn na guibhlant ar bith, dí láithríoch annachuid síbhialtaigh. Tír muintear an Congo cosint ó na náisiún aontaithe. Thucrar na Solanig agus na Héarnig na mílta go na daoine seo a bhoga ag siomh faoi le, áit ar thóg siad a níd an hain.
I wasn't familiar with what a refugee camp was then, and it was just anything they could make a shelter with. Basically, that's all they used. They corrugated tins, canvas, bits of trees. Some of the houses that the Belgians had left, they'd go in and loot the houses that the Belgians were in. Like, take the roofs off it, take the beams out of it, take the floorboards up, take everything up. These people tried to get themselves as much shelter as they could under conditions, because it was the rainy season and it was going to last for a couple of months.
I measc na defach, chroigh grúpa óg na Jeunesse, tribloid leanúnach.
We wanted to check whether when the refugees started coming, that they were really refugees and not something else. Because many of these were not refugees. They were just out for robbing, killing people and so on.
Le suas le caracha míle daoine gampa na defach, bhí obair mhór a gceist an tríocha séú Cathláin, sul ar ilsiad a bhaile. Dúlgus garda, patrol, dúlgus cuideachta, áis bhíchane agus lábhseáil stóras. Curú an tríocha seachtú Cathláin go dtí an Congo I mealtaine 1962. Tháinig ceannarí nuach an cín sa rialtas lárnach a Leopoldville, agus bhí siocháin bhí compórtach I réim I Katanga.
Our battalion were very lucky in that we were the 37th. The 32nd had a reasonably okay time. The 33rd Battalion had a rough time. 34th Battalion had a reasonable time. 35th and 6th Battalion were involved in heavy fighting. We arrived while everybody was catching their breath, and shortly after we departed, the 38th Battalion were in fighting again.
Well, I did another trip with the 38th Battalion, and shall we say it was payback time. The gendarmerie were driven back into what then was Northern Rhodesia, and that were annihilated.
In anar na bliana 1963, ahéan tíog Katanga leis an chuid eile gon phoblacht. Bhí an tír fós aontaithe ag deir na bliana. Bhí socracht fola túl baint amach. Tháinig an céad chahlan éarnach faoi stiúr na náisiún aontaithe go dtí an Congo ar an 8 de iúl 1960. Dág na saidúirí déirneacha an Congo ar an 3 de bheithimh 1964. Ag chur deire le páirt na hÉireann sa bheachtas.
Certainly by the end of the Congo operation, our soldiers would have been well skilled in everything they were doing. The casualty rate was high, of course. The psychological casualties were many.
When you came back, for a while, you were still mentally on operations overseas, and it must have been hell for people who had to live with you.
A lot of young men who had never left Ireland and had no idea where they were going or what they were to do or anything else found it difficult to cope.
God love her, my wife of 48 years now, said, I used to jump out of bed every night. Where's me gun? Where's me gun? Where's me gun? And she said, it's okay, John, it's okay. It's under your pillow. What she used to do, now she was a school teacher. She knew nothing about the army. But I used to sleep with a hurl under my pillow every night. That was me gun. It's okay, it's under your pillow, it's under your pillow. Your gun is under your pillow. That's the debriefing we got.
I got involved with the Irish United Nations Veterans Association, which we founded because we reckoned that our soldiers had been adversely affected by service overseas, and we wanted to do something for them. 20 years later, we feel that we've done a lot of good.
The Army had a good effect on me for some reason. I don't know why. It doesn't have a good effect on everybody. I came out of it unscathed, really. I was fascinated with the experience we had in the Congo.
I didn't think about what we achieved or didn't achieve. I just, I was just glad to go home, and I was looking forward to going back again, but unfortunately I didn't get back again. I loved it out there. I loved the 6 months.
They were the true pioneers of peacekeeping, and through their courage, their dedication, and their sacrifice, began a proud tradition of service by the Defence Forces in the cause of international peace and security, a tradition which remains today.
The greatest adventure of my life. It changed my life for the better. I'm a better man because of it today. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I was prepared for whatever came after. As the saying goes, it makes a man of you.
It made me grow from a gosson to a man.
Health-wise, any morning, you pull up your britches. It's a good day. Whoever pulls it off that night is their problem.
When I look back now, and when people ask me, I always say we were extremely poorly equipped, poorly uniformed, poorly provisioned. But it's funny, when you were there at that time, I suppose it would be too much to say that you didn't know any better, but you just made do with what you had and made the best of what you had. As I say, when you look back in it 20, 30, 40 years afterward, you say, wasn't it appalling? But at least it was the start of our army becoming fixed on service overseas and improving the equipment and clothing and everything else necessary for proper deployment overseas. So it was a start, but we were young. It was a big adventure. We didn't care.
Once a soldier, always a soldier. The things that are impressed on you as a young man stay with you forever. We'll never be anything else but soldiers.
It's a pleasure to welcome each and every one of you to this house. The Irish United Nations Veterans Association is so welcome. It's good to see the blueberry. We have one of the finest peacekeeping forces in the world, and we are very, very grateful because that did not happen by accident. It doesn't happen by accident. It happens because of the efforts that have been made by people like you. Isn't it so important that we do remember